For the past several weeks, I have been reading in the book of Genesis once again. And I'm at the point in the book where my favorite Bible character is the focus. Who is it? None other than my man Joseph. You see, the story of Joseph is something that we all can relate to. Joseph's life started off amazing. He was the golden child. He was the first son of the woman his father loved. However, his brothers hated him. They were jealous of him, to the point that they sold him into slavery, into a country that he had never even been to, alone. And what happened? Joseph was then sold to a man named Potiphar. And things seemed to be improving at that time. Why? Because it says that God blessed him. And he began to move up in the ranks to be the first and the top servant over the entire household of Potiphar. Things were on the up and up. But then what happened? Then Potiphar's wife started liking Joseph. And things got a little bit tricky because she wanted Joseph to be with her. But you see, Joseph was an honest young man. He knew that it would not be right for him to be with the wife of his master. He did the right thing. He followed the law of God. He did what God had told him was the right thing to do. And what happened? He was thrown into prison. He was lied on. It seemed like everywhere Joseph turned, only bad things happened. But then there was a window. Because the baker and the butler were thrown into prison, the same prison that he was at, and he felt like, yes, this is my opportunity to get out of this prison. But as we know, they failed to tell what Joseph had done for them. But then the butler finally remembered and mentioned it to Pharaoh. And then Pharaoh and Joseph meet and they have an interaction, and we know what happens. Joseph is again blessed and becomes the second in command of all of Egypt. Amazing story. But then Joseph meets his brothers again. His brothers come to Egypt because of the famine in the land. Now I want you to think about Joseph's position. He was loved by his father immensely. Yet all of his brothers, except Benjamin, hated him, were jealous of him, and sold him into slavery. And for a long period of his life, he was alone. What would we have done in that situation? To be honest, it's easy to think of an idea of, I'm going to get revenge. But that's not what Joseph did. In Genesis chapter 45, after Joseph has been speaking with his brothers without their knowledge of who he was, we see Joseph reveal himself to his brothers. And at the point when his brothers are filled with fear because they don't know what Joseph will do to them, this is what Joseph said. In Genesis chapter 45, as Joseph spoke to his brothers, in verse 5 it says, "Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve life." Not only did Joseph tell his brothers not to be concerned and not to worry that he would hurt them because he was not going to take revenge, he revealed to them a fact that he understood about God. All of Joseph's pain, all of his trials, all of his loneliness, everything that had happened in his life, he did not blame God for it. Instead, he said, God had a purpose for allowing all of these things to happen. And the purpose was to preserve the life of my family. So this is my question. What's going on in your life right now? What trial? What difficulty? What thing is happening to you right now that is not easy, that does not feel good? What thing is God allowing to happen for the purpose of preserving life in the future? You see, life may not be easy. But we must always remember that God is allowing it for a reason. And we must simply ask Him to give us the patience and the faith necessary to make it through the trial, so that we too, like Joseph, can see the reason in the end, that God is allowing it to preserve life. I pray that we all will continue to trust God, to believe His word, and to remember that there's a purpose for our struggles. God bless and have an amazing day.